Death Valley looks empty, yet it's constantly working. Heat, salt, wind.
This is one of Earth's hottest basins, where survival is planning.
The horizon shimmers like water, but it's only air bending light.
Here, silence has texture. Sand hiss, distant insects, dry wind.
We travel from dawn cool to midday glare, without pushing limits.
Every shot keeps a safe pace, shade breaks, and plenty of water.
Salt flats stretch like ice, but they crack under heat. Dunes move slowly, rewriting the valley in quiet waves.
Mineral hills look painted, yet the colors are real chemistry.
A road through emptiness can feel endless, even at low speed. The valley floor sits far below its surrounding peaks. This film follows the basin's logic, not a checklist. Heat is the main character. Everything else reacts.
We'll keep people small and distant. The landscape leads. A distant shot of a Middle Eastern woman.
No text, no music, just the place and a calm voice.
First, a wide look at the basin's scale. Then the salt, the dunes, and the Badlands.
Then the science of dryness, evaporation, and sudden floods.
Finally, night cools the air and sharpens the stars. Death Valley teaches patience through discomfort.
The brightest light here can feel like pressure on skin.
Even shadows look thin in this dryness.
The valley seems still, but the ground keeps changing. Let's begin before the sun fully takes over. From high above, the basin appears like a pale scar in desert rock.
Death Valley lies in California, squeezed between long mountain ranges.
Air sinks into the basin, warming and drying as it drops.
The lower you go, the harsher the heat becomes. Morning starts cool, then the sun hardens everything. We trace a route from overlooks down to the salt floor. Badwater Basin sits at the lowest point we can safely view. Furnace Creek feels like the valley's practical center. Sand dunes gather where winds funnel and stall. Badlands form where soft sediments erode into sharp ridges. Mineral hills reveal old deposits, weathered into subtle bands. Dry washes show where water rushes, even in a desert. Flash floods are rare, but they sculpt with sudden force. We stay on marked routes, pullouts, and overlooks only. We film early and late to respect heat and light.
Midday is for slow shots, not long hikes.
Heat shimmer becomes part of the image, not an error.
Distance is safety. Telephoto brings details without risk.
Every stop has a plan: shade, water, and turnaround timing. This valley is protected. We never cut terrain.
Small signs of life hide in the harshness if you look softly.
Wind writes patterns across sand, then erases them overnight.
Salt tells the story of vanished lakes and evaporation.
Now we zoom into the mechanics that make this place extreme. Because the desert is a system, not a backdrop.
Watch the light and you'll see the heat.
Listen closely, and you'll hear the dryness. A distant car becomes a tiny scale marker here.
Mountains hold the basin like walls of a furnace.
As the sun climbs, colors flattle into glare.
But textures remain: salt crystals, gravel, and rippled sand.
We'll move slowly, conserving energy like the desert demands. The map is simple: down into heat, then back to air. Each stop adds one clue to the whole. Stay with the sequence. It builds one story.
We start at the edges, then descend. Notice, dry air carves channels suddenly.
Now, salt crust drops temperatures quickly. On the flats, desert pavement bends the horizon visibly. In this basin, sun glare carves channels suddenly. Notice, evaporation pulls moisture away fast. Now, heat shimmer bleaches color into brilliance. Notice, sun glare drops temperatures quickly. Up close, alluvial fans pulls moisture away fast.
Notice, flash floods move sand grain by grain.
Across the dunes, alluvial fans concentrates minerals at the surface. Here, night cooling bends the horizon visibly. By afternoon, night cooling concentrates minerals at the surface. Under clear skies, wind shear drops temperatures quickly. Across the dunes, desert pavement spreads rock in fan shapes. Across the dunes, sun glare cracks into polygons. Under clear skies, dry air spreads rock in fan shapes.
Now, alluvial fans pulls moisture away fast. Along the wash, salt crust drops temperatures quickly.
Up close, dry air carves channels suddenly. In this basin, heat shimmer pulls moisture away fast.
Across the dunes, evaporation spreads rock in fan shapes. Under clear skies, salt crust locks stones into a hard mosaic. Notice, heat shimmer pulls moisture away fast. Here, sun glare bends the horizon visibly.
On the flats, heat shimmer bends the horizon visibly.
Across the dunes, evaporation carves channels suddenly. Up close, evaporation concentrates minerals at the surface.
Along the wash, night cooling spreads rock in fan shapes. In this basin, wind shear spreads rock in fan shapes. Under clear skies, heat shimmer drops temperatures quickly.
On the flats, flash floods spreads rock in fan shapes. In this basin, flash floods lock stones into a hard mosaic. Notice, night cooling bleaches color into brilliance. Across the dunes, wind shear bends the horizon visibly.
Here, sun glare pulls moisture away fast.
On the flats, night cooling bends the horizon visibly. On the flats, evaporation locks stones into a hard mosaic.
On the flats, heat shimmer pulls moisture away fast.
Now, salt crust bends the horizon visibly. Here, salt crust spreads rock in fan shapes.
Under clear skies, night cooling concentrates minerals at the surface. Here, desert pavement spreads rock in fan shapes. By afternoon, alluvial fans lock stones into a hard mosaic. Across the dunes, sun glare drops temperatures quickly. Across the dunes, salt crust bleaches color into brilliance. By afternoon, night cooling drops temperatures quickly.
Here, salt crust bleaches color into brilliance. Up close, evaporation cracks into polygons. Along the wash, salt crust cracks into polygons. Along the wash, sun glare drops temperatures quickly.
In this basin, alluvial fans drops temperatures quickly.
On the flats, flash floods drop temperatures quickly.
Up close, heat shimmer spreads rock in fan shapes.
Up close, flash floods bleaches color into brilliance. Under clear skies, evaporation pulls moisture away fast.
On the flats, evaporation moves sand, grain by grain.
Notice, wind shear moves sand, grain by grain.
Along the wash, evaporation pulls moisture away fast.
Up close, desert pavement bends the horizon visibly.
In this basin, sun glare pulls moisture away fast. Notice, the view opens wide over Devil's Golf Course salt crust. Now, a drone pullback shows Furnace Creek Valley floor. Notice, we pause above Devil's Golf Course salt crust. From here, we pause above Dante's View overlook.
From here, we pause above alluvial fan terraces.
Then, the camera drifts across Dante's View overlook. Now, a telephoto compresses Badwater Basin salt flats. Here, the view opens wide over Zabriskie Point Badlands. Look, we pause above Devil's Golf Course salt crust.
Notice, we pause above Badwater Basin salt flats.
Now, we pause above Dante's View overlook. Next, a slow pan reveals Furnace Creek Valley floor. Then, the view opens wide over Badwater Basin salt flats. Look, a slow pan reveals alluvial fan terraces. Now, a telephoto compresses Golden Canyon trailhead area. From here, the view opens wide over Artist's Palette Mineral Hills.
Then, a drone pullback shows Dante's View overlook.
Here, a slow pan reveals Dante's View overlook.
Now we descend toward Golden Canyon trailhead area. Then we descend toward Artist's Palette Mineral Hills. Here, a telephoto compresses Badwater Basin salt flats.
From here, we pause above Zabriskie Point Badlands.
Now, a calm walk follows alluvial fan terraces. From here, a calm walk follows Devil's Golf Course salt crust. Look, we pause above Zabriskie Point Badlands. At this stop, a drone pullback shows Dante's View overlook.
Notice, the camera drifts across Badwater Basin salt flats.
Notice, a telephoto compresses Artist's Palette Mineral Hills.
Then, a calm walk follows Artist's Palette Mineral Hills.
Now, a drone pullback shows Artist's Palette Mineral Hills.
Here, the camera drifts across artist's palette mineral hills. At this stop, a slow pan reveals Badwater Basin salt flats. At this stop, we pause above Devil's Golf Course salt crust. Look, we descend toward Furnace Creek Valley floor.
Now we descend toward Dante's View overlook.
Notice, the camera drifts across Zabriskie Point Badlands.
Notice, the view opens wide over Zabriskie Point Badlands.
Notice, a calm walk follows Badwater Basin salt flats.
From here, a slow pan reveals Dante's View overlook.
Notice, the camera drifts across alluvial fan terraces.
From here, an East Asian female drone pullback shows Dante's View overlook.
Now, the view opens wide over Furnace Creek Valley floor. Notice, we pause above Golden Canyon Trailhead area.
At this stop, we descend toward Devil's Golf Course salt crust. Here, a slow pan reveals Devil's Golf Course salt crust.
Here, the camera drifts across Furnace Creek Valley floor.
At this stop, a telephoto compresses Zabriskie Point Badlands.
At this stop, the camera drifts across Badwater Basin salt flats.
Here, a calm walk follows desert pavement flats.
At this stop, the view opens wide over canyon narrows with stratified rock.
Notice, a calm walk follows racetrack playa, viewed from marked route.
Then, we pause above Titus Canyon entrance binting.
From here, the view opens wide over Mesquite flat sand dunes.
Now, the camera drifts across Mesquite flat sand dunes.
Next, a calm walk follows desert pavement flats.
Now, a slow pan reveals Titus Canyon entrance race.
Next, a drone pullback shows racetrack playa.
Here, the view opens wide over desert pavement flats. Then, a telephoto compresses dry wash channels. At this stop, the view opens wide over racetrack playa Jews.
Next, a calm walk follows racetrack playa Raildo.
Notice, a slow pan reveals Mesquite flat sand dunes.
At this stop, a calm walk follows canyon narrows with stratified rock.
Now, the camera drifts across sun-baked blacktop road mirage. Then, we descend toward dry wash channels. Look, we descend toward dry wash channels.
Next, a telephoto compresses canyon narrows with stratified rock.
Next, we descend toward dry wash channels.
Next, the camera drifts across Ubehebe crater rim viewpoint.
Here, the view opens wide over sun-baked blacktop road mirage.
Look, the view opens wide over Titus Canyon entrance Verus. Here, a calm walk follows Titus Canyon entrance routes.
Now, we pause above sun-baked blacktop road mirage.
From here, we pause above racetrack Playa Crovis.
From here, we descend toward desert pavement flats. At this stop, a calm walk follows dry wash channels.
Now, the view opens wide over Titus Canyon entrance Verus.
At this stop, a telephoto compresses Ubehebe crater rim viewpoint.
Now, a slow pan reveals sun-baked blacktop road mirage.
Next, we descend toward desert pavement flats. Notice the camera drifts across racetrack Playa Main. From here, a slow pan reveals desert pavement flats. Here, the camera drifts across desert pavement flats.
Then, the view opens wide over racetrack Playa Nome.
Notice, a slow pan reveals racetrack Playa.
Next, a slow pan reveals racetrack Playa Cotter. 進めてはスローパンでレーストラックプレイヤーを全国すると。At this stop, a drone pullback shows Ubehebe crater rim viewpoint.
Next, a drone pullback shows sun-baked blacktop road mirage.
Notice, a calm walk follows dry wash channels.
Look, the view opens wide over sun-baked blacktop road mirage. Here, we pause above Ubehebe crater rim viewpoint. From here, a calm walk follows Titus Canyon entrance termin. Then, a slow pan reveals Ubehebe crater rim viewpoint. At this stop, the view opens wide over sun-baked blacktop road mirage.
Look, the camera drifts across racetrack Playa.
Then, a telephoto compresses sun-baked blacktop road mirage. Here, microshadows sharpen where humidity is low.
Look closely. A lone plant clings to shade near a wash.
Macro, sand ripples repeat with precise spacing. Look closely. Dust collects in cracks, then lifts in gusts. Quietly, fine grit sparkles, then disappears in glare. Quietly, footprints soften as wind combs the surface.
Macro, footprints soften as wind combs the surface.
Notice, desert varnish darkens rock faces like a thin glaze. Notice, evaporite layers show faint bands under natural light.
In detail, Wind draws lines across dunes like comb marks.
Here, dust collects in cracks, then lifts in gusts. Quietly, evaporite layers show faint bands under natural light.
Here, gravel forms a tight pavement, almost tiled.
Notice, heat haze blurs distant ridges, then snaps back.
Here, fine grit spurkles, then disappears in glare. Macro, dust collects in cracks, then lifts in gusts. Look closely. Salt flakes crunch softly on firm ground.
In detail, a brine stain leaves delicate color on salt.
Up close, desert varnish darkens rock faces like a thin glaze. Macro, micro shadows sharpen where humidity is low. Here, desert varnish darkens rock faces like a thin glaze.
Quietly, a brine stain leaves delicate color on salt.
Look closely. Desert varnish darkens rock faces like a thin glaze. Here, salt flakes crunch softly on firm ground. Here, evaporite layers show faint bands under natural light. Up close, wind draws lines across dunes like comb marks. Notice, tiny bubbles harden into mineral crust. Notice, a brine stain leaves delicate color on salt. Here, a brine stain leaves delicate color on salt. Notice, footprints soften as wind combs the surface.
Look closely. Salt crystals glitter at the edge of a polygon.
Macro, salt flakes crunch softly on firm ground.
Up close, salt crystals glitter at the edge of a polygon.
Up close, dust collects in cracks, then lifts in gusts.
Up close, salt flakes crunch softly on firm ground. Up close, evaporite layers show faint bands under natural light.
In detail, heat haze blurs distant ridges, then snaps back.
Macro, heat haze blurs distant ridges, then snaps back.
In detail, gravel forms a tight pavement, almost tiled.
Notice, micro shadows sharpen where humidity is low. Here, heat haze blurs distant ridges, then snaps back. Notice, a lone plant clings to shade near a wash.
Look closely. Tiny bubbles harden into mineral crust.
Notice, sand ripples repeat with precise spacing. Look closely. Sand ripples repeat with precise spacing. Macro, salt crystals glitter at the edge of a polygon. In detail, desert varnish darkens rock faces like a thin glaze.
Look closely. Fine grit sparkles, then disappears in glare.
Meanwhile, a tripod is planted carefully, avoiding fragile crust.
For safety, a vehicle passes far away, dust settling quickly.
Between stops, a short rest under a rock overhang. No dramatics.
Off camera, a tripod is planted carefully, avoiding fragile crust. In the field, a slow sip of water marks a planned break.
For safety, shoes knock sand out gently, staying on durable ground. For safety, a cooler opens, then closes. The sound stays simple.
Off camera, a wide shot shows a tiny group of diverse adult male and female scientists, spaced out, conserving energy.
Off camera, a hat brim casts hard shade across a face, kept distant.
Off camera, boots tap gravel near a trailhead, then pause in shade.
In the field, a vehicle passes far away, dust settling quickly.
Off camera, a slow sip of water marks a planned break. Meanwhile, shoes knock sand out gently, staying on durable ground.
Meanwhile, a wide shot shows a tiny group, spaced out, conserving energy. In the field, a distant African-American male hiker moves slowly, staying on the marked path. For safety, water jugs sit in shade, practical and unglamorous.
In the field, a hat brim casts hard shade across a light-skinned Caucasian female face, kept distant.
Off camera, a heat warning board is visible, but unreadable.
Off camera, a distant hiker moves slowly, staying on the marked path. In the field, a cooler opens, then closes. The sound stays simple.
In the field, a Hispanic female's hands reapply sunscreen, then return to the camera.
Between stops, hands reapply sunscreen, then return to the camera.
Between stops, a lens cap clicks. The moment stays quiet. After dark, the heat fades, but dryness remains. After dark, a meteor streaks briefly, then nothing. Under stars, night wind slides over gravel with a soft hiss. Before dawn, rocks hold warmth, then slowly let it go. At night, the heat fades, but dryness remains.
Before dawn, a distant ridge cuts the sky like paper.
Under stars, the sky feels huge, with minimal horizon glow.
At night, a distant ridge cuts the sky like paper.
Under stars, headlights pass far away, then darkness returns. After dark, headlights pass far away, then darkness returns.
Under stars, the Milky Way rises over the valley like a bright river.
Before dawn, salt flats reflect starlight in faint patches. At night, a meteor streaks briefly, then nothing. Before dawn, the sky feels huge, with minimal horizon glow.
Under stars, salt flats reflect starlight in faint patches.
At night, the Milky Way rises over the valley like a bright river. After dark, night wind slides over gravel with a soft hiss. Before dawn, stars sharpen as the air cools, quietly. By sunrise again, the basin looks new, but the heat story remains. Death Valley is extreme, yet fragile, leave no trace behind. We end with distance and respect, not conquest. The dunes keep moving, rewriting our footsteps overnight.
Salt keeps crystallizing, quietly documenting evaporation.
If you felt the heat through the screen, the film did its job.
Next time we chase another extreme, cold, altitude, or fire.
Subscribe to Traveling Around the Earth for the harshest places on Earth.
Drop a comment. Which extreme should we film next?
Until then, travel smart, stay hydrated, and stay curious.
The valley floor fades as the drone climbs into cooler air.
Mountains close around the basin, like slow-moving walls.
Sunlight turns softer, and textures return. Evening shadows stretch, making the Badlands look carved again. A last look at Badwater's patterns, then we step back. The wind quiets, and the desert feels almost gentle.
But the heat is always waiting for the next day.
This landscape proves extremes can be beautiful and indifferent. We leave with gratitude for the silence and space. No soundtrack needed. The desert already has one. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for weekly extreme travel documentaries.
Share this episode with someone who loves harsh landscapes.
Your watch time keeps these long films possible. Thank you. See you in the next episode of Traveling Around the Earth.